Alright guys, I know that a lot of people have been waiting on me to upload this video for quite a while now, and I've been saying I'm going to do it, but I was kind of lazy, but here I am. Finally, this is going to be the updated fighter gearing guide, or just guide, I guess you could call it, because I'm going to go over a couple other things. So right now, the fighter meta is in a significantly better spot than it was previously. We just recently got the buffs to Swift and to Weapon Mastery and all this other stuff. But primarily things like Warlock got nerfed, Cleric got nerfed, which is the main reason that Fighter is a lot better now. Which is usually how it is in the meta. Fighter usually doesn't get good because of Fighter buffs. They got good because of other classes getting nerfed, because that's generally what Fighter is. It's that Fighter as a class itself isn't weak. It's that the other things are just much better, and because other things are better, think like Barbarian or Cleric in the past, because they are much better, Fighter just cannot ever match up to them in that 1v1. So you just kind of always lose. And even right now, like, I think Fighter is solid right now. I don't think it's particularly strong. I don't think it's particularly weak, but it is definitely a good playable spot. And if you are a good fighter and you play it correctly, you will have results right now. That is one thing I am going to say. So to start off with, let's go over the perks. So recently, like we said, Swift and Weapon Mastery have both been buffed. Weapon Mastery no longer gives you the penalty to using other weapons, which is fantastic, and Swift now gives a 30% armor move speed penalty. So I will say, this Swift buff isn't that big. I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, a lot of people are like freaking out, like, oh my god, 10%, like fighters are so fast. And it's really not that crazy. In a normal kit, this is only going to be about 3 move speed, which is 1%. So it's nothing super crazy. It's not taking your build from slow to fast or, something like that. Like, if your build was fast, it's still fast. It's just slightly faster. And if you were already wearing, like, a fast build, like wearing lighter armor, then this is even less of a, less of an increase. Like, I was wearing a normal kit, like this one right here with dark leathers and everything. Then the movement speed penalty is literally, I think I calculated it out, it's like 2.7 or something. It's 10% of whatever 8 plus 15 plus 7 is, which is 30, so 3, I guess. So different build I was thinking of. I think I was wearing leather leggings, that's what it was. But yeah, like in this build, which is a super normal fighter build, it's literally 1 move speed. But anyways, other than that, so the perks that I've been running, they've been pretty different. I've actually been running a lot of different things here. Obviously, Defense Mastery and Swift, these are the guarantee ones that I always run as long as I'm running Plate. But then I've been swapping between things like Sword Mastery, Shield Mastery, Barricade, as always, because I love Barricade, and then Weapon Mastery. Weapon Mastery, I've been running if I run a Morningstar, and if I run a Morningstar, I also run a Longbow. If not, I've been running things like Barricade if I'm running an MR build, which I'm going to go over in a minute. And if I haven't been, I've just been going for like a more normal build that's like not quite as high MR. I've been running Sword Mastery and not Shield Mastery. This was all from last night. I was running a counterattack, sorry. That was from last night, just messing around. I've been running Sword Mastery and counterattack. And then for my perks, or skills, I've been running Sprint and either Second Wind or Taunt. Before I would drop Sprint and I would run Second Wind and Taunt, but I've actually liked Sprint, Taunt quite a bit recently. I think move speed is very valuable right now. A lot of the comps are less slow front lines and more like fast backliners. Think rogues, rangers, warlocks, wizards, all that type of thing. So, and I'm gonna go over like the builds. I'm gonna go over. I'll put on a build and show you what I would run with it. So, I have several different builds here, and as I'm sure you guys can see, most of these are pretty different. A few of these are we're gonna call meme builds. You see we have like a Ghost Blade build here. I have a Halberd build here. This is Slayer, so it's not really a meme build. It's more of like a Slayer build. And these right here, these two, plus this one here are the more generic builds I run. So to start off with, let me just go over with this one right here, because I built a bunch of kits last night. Oh, sorry, missed the element. So this right here is like the quintessential Todd build. This is like the thing I most commonly run. Also, let me just say that before somebody freaks out in the comments, no, I did not come up with making a tanky fighter build, right? Like, it's running will and running buff duration, so yeah, that's more me. But like, I'm just saying Todd build as in this is the build I run. It's, we'll clarify. So this is like a build that is almost like that. I almost always run builds like this. You see it's super high HP, really, really good resistances, 53, 45, decent move speed, no action speed, no fizz power. Like very 1%, very low fizz power. This is, I think this is like the best. This is if you are building on a budget or you're not really sure what you want to build, you're not really sure how to play, you don't have a specific play style, this build is super easy to slap on. It's relatively cheap to build because you're going for things like will rings and splendid cloak. Yes, there are going to be pieces that are expensive, like dark plate, golden hound skull, dark leathers. These can all be expensive. However, that is one thing I should say right now. If you want to play fighter in high roller, yes, it is better than it has been before. However, the level of gear you need currently has jumped up a decent bit. I know in one of my last videos on the buff duration fighter or whatever, or when I showed you guys me building a kit, I spent like 8,000 gold. That is not the case. I will say every single kit you see in my stash here, I've spent at least 10 to 20,000 gold on. Some of them even higher. Like this, I will show you this kit right here in a minute. This kit right here has probably cost me around 50,000 gold. So yeah, I'm just like that is something I'm gonna say. If you are trying to play fighter and really do well, like obviously like I said, you could build a kit like this for less gold, right? Like instead of running like a bunch of like legendary pieces, you could run purples and things like that. Drop maybe some armor rating or buff duration or whatever. Like you could definitely do that and spend less gold, but just so you know, the less gold you spend, the less good your build's gonna be, or the worse your build's gonna be. Um, but yeah, that's like how fighter is. That I've felt that I need my kits to be really good for HR now more than ever. And so the thing is, cleric has been nerfed, yes. However, cleric still exists in the game. It is still an incredibly strong front line, and they can still beat you 1v1. If you try to fight them, generally speaking, they will still beat you 1v1. That has not changed. What has changed, though, is armor pen. Armor pen has been buffed incredibly high. And let me segue this into showing you the Slayer build I have. Armor pen has been buffed like crazy. And with that being said, people that are running armor are now in significantly worse spots because of that. Let's just, I don't need to put the weapons on. So just to show you guys this build here, oops, I forgot this. You see, I'm really good HP, 187. I'm 303 move speed, 10.6% action speed, and I would swap from Nightmare Skelly to like either Elf or Frost Skelly here. Elf is probably better if you don't want to lose move speed. And then I have said 11% action speed, 304 move speed, and then let's look at some of the really important stats. I have 14.8% armor pen right here. And you're like, yeah, honestly, the thing is, that's pretty low. However, you have to then add on top 3.4% here. That brings me almost up to like 19%, and then another 15% here. So with that being said, all in all, I'm going to be close to 35% armor pen. And this is just with two pieces of... Oh my god. Sorry if you guys heard my roommate's dog barking. I ain't gonna lie, it kind of scared me. This is just with 2%, or like 2 pieces of cobalt that have armor pen, because this got really buffed. It used to be 1.5%, now it's 3.5%. A little bit of armor pen on my rings. I don't have any on my helmets, some on my gloves, and then some on my necklace. So the thing is, you could in theory get much higher armor pen than this, and I'm going to say this right now, the best character in the game, and the best build in the game is Rogue and armor pen. The thing is, the armor pen build also works on rangers. People haven't discovered this yet, and I really don't know why. But when you see those rangers running in full cobalt, or those rogues in full cobalt with full armor pen, they can get upwards of 60% pen. With a winless crossbow and full pen belt, a ranger can have 68% pen. With a longbow, 48% pen. And that is every single shot. That is not counting any, skills or perks being activated. That is just their base amount of pen they can get. So, these builds where you're 75% PDR, they can cut that in half. And that is kind of strong, I won't lie. And they're hitting you for so much damage. But this is part of the reason that I think things like Slayer are so strong, because you can run things like Morningstar and it'd be really good. And I know a lot of you are going to be like, oh, why aren't you running Stiletto? The reason I'm not is because I want to run Sword Mastery. And if you run Short Sword Morningstar, what you can do is, slap the Short Sword in your offhand, and then Sword Mastery benefits your Morningstar. You get the value from that onto the Morningstar, which gives you extra weapon damage, extra action speed. Let's see, let me get a drink of water. My mouth's getting dry. But yeah, so armor pen, incredibly strong. In terms of gearing out Slayer, what I will say is generally what you want to go for, like, once again, this right here included. Very expensive kit. Running this kit, yes, you can run a budget version of this, but obviously the less you spend, the worse your results are going to be. Outside of that, what you look for: dex, true damage, max HP, armor pen. Those are pretty much the stats you want. And obviously on your boots, always try to get at least one move speed roll, ideally two. But yeah, for the rings, so for the rings, I didn't go for true damage. I just went for I went for max health, armor pen, action speed because these are a lot cheaper. If I show you right now, like let's say, let's go health, armor pen, and then action speed. Last time I checked, these were around 1,000 gold each. Yeah, so you can get a few of these for like under like 2,000 gold. However, let's say instead of armor pen, let's say I want to do true damage, right? Oh, sorry. Let's see true damage, and then this is it automatically jumps up 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 plus gold. So I decided to say screw the true damage and go for action speed because even though this kit is very good, I'm not willing to spend 60,000 gold on a Slayer kit. That's pretty much a meme to me because I don't really care that much about Slayer. Other than that, like I said, armor pen, max health, that's pretty much where you're going for across the board. In terms of gearing it out, cobalt is your best pieces for these two right here, and cobalt leather gloves are very, very good as well. The downside is there aren't that many on the market, so it's kind of hard to get the rolls you want. You see here, I went with these instead. These are the exact same as cobalt leather gloves. The difference is these have one more dex and 1% less armor pen. But I get 3 max health and 1 true damage on these, and these are relatively cheap, only around 2,000 gold, I believe. So if you can get good cobalt leathers, those are probably better, but if you can't, you can go for normal leather gloves as well. Then leather cap, always your best helmet. Some stats like these are absolutely perfect for it. And yeah, this is like a very, very normal Slayer build. Well, I say normal. This is like in terms of the gear, not the stats. In terms of stats, it's very abnormal because it's a crazy build. All right, let me swap these back off. I always have to remember to put Defense Mastery and Swift back on, because if I don't, then you guys won't be able to see like the stats I have. All right. Also, so back to this build really quick, since I want to cover the Slayer thing really quick for armor pen. Back to this build. In terms of building this, how you're gonna go for it is literally it's similar to the Slayer, but instead of going for like damage stats, you just build HP and resistances. So armor rating, MR, will, buff duration. All of those stats are fantastic, and you see almost every single piece of my gear is max health, MR, max health, Vig, more health, max health, magic res, buff duration. Look at this ring. I'd like just look at this ring for a minute. I just need everybody to look and acknowledge how gorgeous that Ring of Resolve is. It is beautiful. But anyways, max health, magic res, armor rating, max health, magic res, PDR, max health bonus, armor rating, max health, buff duration, will, move speed, magic res, and then max health, magic res, armor rating. So yeah, like these kits right here are literally you're just going for HP, magic resistance, armor rating. That's the kit. You could completely drop buff duration if you're building it cheaper, because then you won't need something like, you could like drop like legendary stuff. But honestly, all in all, relatively cheap kit to build. Now, getting into the more expensive kits, because I'm not going to cover literally every single kit I have in my arsenal. Also, this right here is the type of kit I would run Barricade Sword Mastery with, probably. Maybe not Sword Mastery, but absolutely run Barricade in this. Barricade is literally, this is Barricade Bis. So this kit right here, this is the really expensive one. This kit is incredibly expensive, and the reason being is really high HP, good move speed, good action speed, and it's good resistances while also having some fizz power. This is like the Jeffrey Bezos. This is like the Bill Gates build. When you have a lot of money that you're willing to throw away and you want a really good kit, this is what you're looking to build for. You're going for multiple pieces of golden plate. You're going for, legendary gear like this. You're going for multiple on-stat Grim Smiles, legendary Dark Plate, multiple on-stat legendary Necklace of Peace, things like that. And same for like everything. You're just pretty much going for high rarity, multiple on rolls. And the funniest part is, like, this could still be upgraded because I have a ring like this, and this ring is really bad. This is just, well, I say it's really bad. It's double MDR. Oh. All right, and we are back. Sorry for that. My game crashed. You guys are lucky too. I thought about leaving that part in, but I'm gonna actually go cut it out after this. Or I'll leave it in, and there would just be like a minute of like dead air talking about it. But anyways, back to the build. I'm not sure where I left off, so I'm just gonna repeat myself entirely. This is a super expensive build. You are not running this unless you have a lot of gold. I've probably spent somewhere close to 50 or 100,000 on this because almost every single piece, like the golden pieces I have here, almost every single piece of these has cost 5 to 10,000. These pants right here, I can remember were 10,000 gold. Gloves 5 or 6,000, helmet 5 or 6,000, dark plate, necklace, boots, all 5 or 6,000 gold. The rings weren't super expensive. Like this one was relatively cheap. Or no, not this one. This one was super cheap. This cloak was relatively cheap. And the thing is, this ring right here is definitely a really easy upgrade. It's not even that great. It's just double MDR because I want the MR here. But I mean, like 2%. Like yeah, that's fake. Like where it's not even 2%. Yeah, that's fake. This will be getting upgraded. I assure you. I might go for a vitality ring here. Go for like a legendary or unique vitality ring if I can that has MR on it, or go for like a crazy ring of resolve. Maybe I transfer that other one off my other fighter kit. Like where's it at? Transfer this one over here. Downside if I do this is I lose a lot of HP, but oh my god, gain so much MR. I mean, honestly, like this just might be a play. I don't know. It depends. I might have to look. Hold on, how much MR is this? Okay, I don't want to kit build right now. No, sorry, I don't want to get sidetracked. But yeah, this build, like I said, this is the build. This is the build. This is the one you want to aim for as like your in the game Gigabis build. Because gold plate is incredibly good in the stats it has, not for chest piece. You know, gives MDR completely. It doesn't have the minus MR of normal plate. Strength Vig, good stats. Dex Vig, really good stat. Hound Skull is obviously a very strong option because it has super high armor and really good headshot damage reduction. Dark plate is always going to be the de facto chess piece for fighter. 55, 58 MR on a legendary. You cannot beat this. It's just too good. Good move speed penalty. They are very pricey, but I mean that's just how it is. Then Adventurer Boots, very, very strong as well. If you're trying to go for a Dex here. Triple, I mean, these are like super expensive, but you could get something slightly worse. Just go for like 1 move speed, 1 HP roll. Or go for Ruggeds if you don't care about the action speed as much. So, yeah. And in this build, I absolutely would run Barricade. I would probably run Barricade, and this is a Morningstar build, but I'm not 100% on sold on Morningstar anymore. I have been liking Falchion quite a bit, and the main reason I've been liking Falchion is because Falchion is significantly better against rogues. When you're fighting them, they get so close to you that if you're hitting with Morningstar, you're almost perma-sour spotting or hilt hitting or, you know, whatever. So you're hitting them for like half the damage you normally would. And for that reason, Falchion has been feeling a lot better. And with this much action speed, there's a good argument to be made where I just slap Sword Mastery on, and I'll have 17.6% action speed with okay Fizz Power with a really good Legendary Falchion, which is absolutely possible, and I'm really not convinced on what I should do here with this. Like I said, I do think Morningstar is very strong, but with the current meta, I think Falchion might just be better. Even if slightly. I mean, it really comes down to what you're fighting. If you're fighting a bunch of frontliners and like clerics and fighters and barbarians that are tanky, Morningstar's better. If you're fighting everything else, Falchion's better because none of those guys have armor. But yeah, this build, this is literally like you go for every roll possible. You're going for damage, you're going for dexterity, health, action speed, armor, MDR. This is just building everything. Very, very solid build here. And buff duration is 4%, so buff duration is kind of fake in this build. The thing is, like, you could say, like, oh, wait, isn't this build of here, like, pretty much just better because it's tankier? You could look at that, but this build is more of a, it's slightly less tanky, but it's significantly more offensive because it has more action speed. And more fizz power. And other than this, I will cover the Ghostblade build because I've seen a lot of people talking about that, because why not, man? Also, for anyone still watching and that is curious about it, I will never give you a longsword build. I don't play longsword, so yeah, there's that. Just, I'm not your guy for longsword builds. All right, this is a very, oh, I forgot I had the wrong skin on too. I had a elf on, so yeah. Wait, let me show you guys the stats really quick. Is that everything right? I think it is. Yeah. So that was actually with the elf on, so my stats were slightly different. You see, like, I had a little bit more move speed, slightly less resistances. This is the normal skin I run, is a nightmare skeleton. And if you can't get this anymore, you can always run something else. You can run human, you can run elf, you could run, you know, normal skeleton, run whatever you want. But this is like, I normally run the nightmare skeleton on most of my builds because it's really, really good. But truthfully speaking, on this build, I probably wouldn't run it just because I want the MR more. And once you're like around this level of PDR, you could cap out pretty easily with Barricade and Taunt. So it's not super necessary. But anyways, back to what I was doing. All right. Okay, so this is the this is the Ghost Blade build. If you don't know what the Ghost Blade is, it is a new craftable crystal sword with a frostlight and the Ghost King's essence, which you get from Ghost King. And it has the damage of a purple or a legendary, I think. I think it's purple. But it also has 2% move speed bonus, so this effectively has 19 move speed penalty. Which is really good. Really, really light. It's 19, 19, 19 across the board. Wonder if they intended for that. Probably. But yeah. So the point of this build is you stack a ton of magic power, and then you either get ignited, or you just do a lot of magic damage, and you can kill these other like plate classes that don't have MR really, really easily. I think with this build, which I plan on upgrading and running a better version of it, but with this build, I was hitting for like 90 to 100, and then plus ignite on top of that would add another 11 damage, base, not including the burn. In this build, you just run things like Dex, Will, True Damage. The big thing is you want to stack all the Will pieces because Will gives you a lot of MR. You can see like these legs, for example. Each point of Will is 2%, or not MR, sorry, magic power. Each point of Will gives you 2% magic power at the range I'm in. I don't know what the curve is. But then you want a ton of move speed. Like, you just want to be really fast and hit really fast and hit really hard. One thing that's important is you can run Sword Mastery this because Crystal Sword is a sword, so it does work for Sword Mastery. And that is just free action speed. 2 weapon damage as well, but that's not as relevant because you're not building as much physical damage. You're mostly just building magical damage. But other than that, it is solid. And then you're in Weapon Mastery. And then you can run other things. Like, you could drop like Defense Mastery because you're not actually getting that much value from it. But I think it's fine to just run it. You can run like Adrenaline Spike. You can run Projectile Resist, Combo Attack, any of these if you want to. But overall, that's the build. It's more of a meme build. However, if you do get a very good one, it absolutely can work. I ran it. It's definitely not bad. And it's pretty fun. I mean, I think in duos or trios it's better than solos because there you can get ignite, which is really cool, and it's fun because it's fun to have it's really fun to have a sword that's on fire. At least that's what I think. But yeah, that's mostly gonna wrap it up for the video. I covered pretty much all the builds I think are solid right now. Like, obviously there are more things you could do. Like, I have like some meme halberd build here. There are builds where you can run like Adrenaline Rush, War Maul with a sprint. Over here, these are just other variations of like the tanky builds, like the MR builds. This right here is a Fizz Power build. I guess I could show off really quick. This build isn't like very good. It's just like really high Fizz Power with decent action speed and really low resistances. Like some 18% Fizz Power here, 6% action speed. And then my resistances are super low. This is just something I threw together because I want to hit people really, really hard. But it's nothing particularly good. And like I said, there are other fighter builds out there other than the ones I'm showing you. I know Amel in particular. I'm pretty sure he's putting out a guide at some point. But I know Amel in particular runs he runs a much different build. He runs way more movement speed and dex than I do in my normal kits. He runs something like this right here, but not as tanky. And he runs like Brave Hunters. But yeah, I mean, me and Amel have always had very different builds. I always run like a more defensive style while he runs more offensive style. So if that's something you're interested in, be on the lookout for his videos. And other than that, I don't think there's anything left for me to cover. Make sure you always bring magic prop pots and Trolls Bloods and Surge Kits and all that good stuff. Other than that, yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for me. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.